This is Jeremy Counseller, Dean of Baylor Law School. Welcome to another edition of Counselor's Corner, and I am very pleased today to be joined by my guest, seventh quarter law student, Jared Miller. Jared, how are you?
Dean Counseller, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good. So tell me, I said you're a seventh quarter law student, which I think is correct. Tell me about the courses you're taking right now.
So this quarter is a strictly elective quarter for me, so I'm finishing out special distinctions. I'm doing two special distinctions, one in business planning and the second in estate planning and administration. So I'm taking the remaining courses left to fulfill those requirements.
Well, tell us just a little bit about the special distinctions and what role they play here in our curriculum.
Yeah, the way I like to think of them, and this is how other people describe them as well, is that they're really representative of, say, a college major. So it's a concentration of courses that are tailored to an intended practice area. So I intend to practice in a transactional setting, specifically mergers and acquisitions, and so these courses are tailored to support me whenever I go into my big boy job.
Your big boy job.
Yeah.
Well, and just to say, no one has to do a special distinction, but they're there for you if you want them, and they serve as sort of a guide into the sort of courses you need to take for
That's
a
right.
particular practice area, and they can be very helpful. Okay, so you said big boy job, but here's the thing. You have a track record in some other big boy jobs before you came to law school,
Yes,
so tell me about those.
So I originally was an accountant. I did a master's in accounting at Texas A&M, and then I worked professionally for
One of your two master's degrees.
Oh, yes, sir. The second one was a master's in business administration from the University of Iowa, but that was the first master's degree was to qualify me to be a certified public accountant in the state of Texas, and I accepted employment post A&M at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers,
Right.
doing international tax. That lasted less than 2 years, and then I transitioned into a position at KPMG, also one of the big four accounting firms, doing corporate finance advisory. So I saw both sides of the coin, both compliance-based and advisory-based within the accounting industry prior to coming to law school, and those were very professional workplaces. So it was a legitimate job with billable hour expectations and client facing in a lot of ways.
So here you are. You're before you ever go to law school, highly educated, undergraduate degree, 2 master's degree. You're a CPA. You've got a great job at a great accounting firm. What makes you say, I want to change my track record and go spend 3 years in law school to become a lawyer?
Yes, sir. I mean, that is a great question, because the accounting profession does offer upward mobility as far as professional development and growth. I like to think of the difference between accounting and law. Accountants are trained to rigorously measure and classify transactions, and attorneys, their role is really planning the transactions. I mean, they are more of the strategists. They're making sure that business objectives are carried out through contract, and it's the same side of it's the same, I guess, objectives at the end of the day, but the direction of the work is different. And I was more interested in kind of the upstream part of the process. Instead of accounting for transactions, I actually wanted to help plan for and structure transactions. And being an attorney really gives me that opportunity where accounting kind of focuses on the back end.
Yeah. So for listeners who aren't as familiar with Baylor Law School, we have what the students refer to as the transactional quarter, which is a quarter of trusts and estates, business organizations, tax, some transactional drafting.
Right.
Really, they're foundational courses for those who want to do the sort of work that you want to do and take the sort of elective advanced courses that you're taking. I'm wondering, from your perspective as someone who has worked for one of the largest accounting firms, you are a CPA, how has your legal education complemented, or maybe vice versa, your CPA training experience complemented your legal education?
Absolutely. So I guess when I'm taking courses in law school, a lot of the concepts can come across as abstract. My background allows me to associate these abstract concepts to real economic realities of business. It's almost like when I read a contract or a provision, I can almost think through the provision to how it will impact the balance sheet of the company, and it helps me make more sense out of how these incentives of business owners really are carried out through the legal side of things if I know how they're making money. And I think that it's helped me, especially in courses like securities regulation, for example. I mean, before law school, I had spent 6 or 7 years thinking about securities and the 34 Act and why investor protection is important. And then when I come to law school, all I'm doing is filling in the gaps. I already have the framework in my mind of why these things happen the way that they happen, and then law school kind of paints the canvas to fill in the very technical specifics of how those things actually happen.
I think what you said is part of what you said is an insight that might benefit people who listen to the podcast who are thinking about going to law school. They're out there, they've got a career, maybe law school's always been in the back of their mind, and it's a big decision to go to law school because it's time, if nothing else, it's time and there's cost to it. I mean, there may be a tuition expense, but there's certainly an opportunity cost for someone like you who is out there earning a good living already. But one thing, just my observation, is it's more commonplace now for people to come to law school, not straight out of undergrad, but with 2, 4, 6, 8 years of professional experience in some other field or profession. And but the thing that I think it helps when you have that other experience is exactly what you said. It's not an abstraction. These things, there's so many things that might seem abstract to someone unless you've got some hands-on experience in that area. So I think that's a really great thing that you bring to Baylor Law School and to your education. Okay, I want you to tell me about how because my understanding is, I want to get to this in some detail, but my understanding is you have a family.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have a daughter.
Yes, sir.
And a partner or wife.
Yes, sir. A wife.
Okay. How do you balance all that? How do you balance law school because your daughter's young, a couple months old, not quite
Less
at
than
this
2
point? Okay.
At this point.
How do you manage it all?
Well, thankfully, I have a very supportive spouse, and her profession. So she's a registered dietitian, and so she's not working 12-hour days, or she's not client-facing in a traditional sense. I guess patient-facing in some ways, and she has been very supportive in I guess my ambitions to pursue a legal education, to spend the hours that I needed to make the good grades on the exams, and to put myself into a position for career success. And so if it wasn't for her, it would be a lot more difficult. I'd be eating the prepared H-E-B oven meals. I mean, there'd be a lot of differences that, fortunately, my life situation just keeps me from having to face.
Okay. Tell me, and thanks to your wife for that. We're glad that she's doing that stuff, and I hope it pays off for her. I think you'll have to make sure that that's true.
Absolutely.
Tell me about, you have participated in some interscholastic competitions and the ABA MAC Cup. What is the ABA MAC Cup?
So the MAC Cup is the Mergers and Acquisitions Committee of the ABA. They host an annual competition where schools will put together teams, and then they'll be randomly matched against other schools to negotiate an M&A deal. And so this year we had a competition to where myself and Justin Garber were partners on on a transaction where we were matched against different schools, and we essentially negotiated. It was a random order, kind of like moot court. One day you're buyer, and the next time you might be seller. And so we negotiated these deals through Zoom, about an hour, 70-minute Zoom mock negotiations.
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people are familiar with mock trial competitions, which simulate a trial, moot court competitions, simulate an appellate argument. What is becoming more commonplace and what we are fully embracing here at the law school are the transactional competitions. Talk about what role you feel participation in that team, on that team, played in your education.
Well, the transactional competitions, I believe, have been absolutely crucial to prepare me to go into practice. So that was my fourth negotiation competition in an M&A context. One of the other greatest opportunities I think the school offers the transactional students is that transactional practice lab, which is a inter-school competition where you negotiate a very similar buy-sell agreement. And when I took advantage of these opportunities, I found myself even better prepared when I started my internship this last summer. I mean, a lot of the terminology, the vernacular was already embedded because I had already had repetitions of practicing drafting these agreements. And so these competitions, they're completely extracurricular, right? They're not required to graduate, but it's an opportunity that you can build a skill set that will actually translate to when you get out into the world and you're actually doing these things for real with tens or hundreds of $1 million on the line.
Yeah, and it's what you said. It's the repetition.
The repetition.
You do it, and I think it goes back to something I mentioned earlier. It helps people go from the abstract to the concrete.
Absolutely.
To have those competitions, whether it's mock trial, moot court, or transactional law competition. It's just it can be a fabulous and important part of your education. There's just no doubt about it. Okay. Now, the ABA MAC Cup, who coached that team?
So that was Alan Page.
Alan Page, okay. The great Alan Page. And I take it you prepare for weeks and weeks to get ready for this competition. What happens to you on the day that you are set to compete?
Yes, sir. So that was actually a very torrential 12 hours, I would say. So my wife wakes me up the night before, and she says, it's time. And so we rush her to the hospital.
It's time, and this has a particular meaning because your wife is pregnant when she says this.
Read in context, she's 9 months pregnant, and she wakes me up and she says, it's time. And so it's like, okay, let's go. So we grab the bags and we get her to the hospital. And at 2 a.m, the day of the competition, so this was October 25th was when we had the competition. And at 2 a.m., Ava Lynn Miller came into this into this world kicking and screaming. And I had a competition that day at 10 a.m. And so thankfully we were...
Okay. What I want to know, not to pry into your marriage, but I've got to ask about the conversation between you and your wife about this competition you're supposed to be in 8 hours after she gives birth.
That's right. So my wife, depending on how that situation played out, we were very blessed that it played out in a way that Ava was healthy, my wife was healthy. Ava was bundled up, and she was sleeping. And if it had been a more dramatic situation, I think that my duties as a husband and as a father would have definitely kicked in there.
As well, they should.
As they should have.
Yeah.
But I figured that at the time I needed to leave for the competition, everything would be okay for about an hour and a half, and that's exactly how long I was gone from the hospital. I mean, I was I left the hospital, 15 minutes to home and get ready, an hour competition, 15 minutes to get back to the hospital. And during that time, we negotiated, and we actually won that competition. But all of the work, all of the, I guess, the anxiety, the performance anxiety that kind of comes along with competitions, that wasn't a problem because we had spent, as you said, weeks and months preparing. I mean, we knew this deal cold. We knew the provisions that we were going to be negotiating, and we just had to come in and execute. Just
and you
press
got
play.
what really matters waiting for you back at the hospital. So
Yes,
it
sir.
sort of puts things into perspective.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that ordeal, I would say, it was just as you say, it puts everything into perspective because now there's a family, there's obligations, there's a reason now greater than just an ambition.
Well, it's one example of trying to strike a balance, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
professional obligations, family obligations. I think you did a great job. And again, your wife is there to support you and sort of give you the blessing. You can go for an hour and a half and get back. I think that's fantastic. So tell me, you are now two quarters away from graduation. What do you plan to do after graduation?
So after graduation, I've accepted an offer to a firm's corporate and transactional practice group in Houston, Texas, where the main focus of that practice is going to be on mergers and acquisitions. And so I am going to do essentially exactly what I wanted to do after graduate, which is great. I came into law school wanting to be an M&A lawyer, and that is the offer that I accepted. And so I'll start as a first-year associate in October after my bar exam results come back.
That sounds like a great fit for you and a great hire for the firm in Houston. We have come now to the lightning round.
Okay.
The questions are silly. Your answers have to be short.
Okay.
What's your go-to comfort food?
Mac and cheese.
Would you rather take a road trip across the United States or backpack through Europe?
Road trip.
Big cities or small towns?
Small towns.
What's the last show you binge watched?
Landman.
If you could, well, you may have just answered this. If you could cameo in any TV show, which would it be?
Oh, goodness. Probably the night agent, the CIA guy that does cool stuff.
Is cereal a soup?
Probably by Webster's, I would say it's a soup, just like a hot dog is a sandwich, which is also controversial.
Do you think breakfast should be served all day?
Absolutely not. I would say breakfast should be served sparingly and not even every day. I skip breakfast.
Interesting take. Very strident. What's one thing you've always wanted to learn but haven't yet?
Probably Russian or, Mandarin or some exotic language.
Would you rather have unlimited free flights or unlimited free meals at restaurants?
Unlimited free meals.
Would you rather never have to sleep or never have to eat? And you got to pick one. You got to pick one of the two.
Well, eating is fun for me, so I would say never sleeping.
You have to live either without music or without movies. Which do you choose?
Without movies. I'm an avid musician.
What do you play?
Piano and percussion.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I understand you may have a question for me.
I do, sir. So you have mentioned that if you hadn't have been an attorney, you would have been a history professor. So my question for you is, if you were to write a historical nonfiction book over any event, person, or place, what would it be about and why?
So I have mentioned that history professor was something I was occasionally interested in, particularly when law school got hard. I'm like, it'd be easier to be a history professor. I'm glad I didn't go that route, although that would be a great life. I also wanted to be a long-haul truck driver. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast before too. Long-haul truck driver, because I used to study at a truck stop in law school, and I actually said to a truck driver, I said, "Man, I envy you. I think I want to be a long-haul truck driver." He's like, "Kid, stay in school." And I'm glad I followed his advice. I think if I were going to write, I would pick a Native American tribe and write the pre-Columbian history of that tribe, because not because it hasn't been done, but just because I think that's a part of American history that doesn't get a lot of, certainly I haven't been exposed to a ton of it, although I'm starting a book right now that deals with that. So anyway, that's something that interests me.
Is there a particular region, Northeast, Southern around Florida, the West?
I would go the West.
The West, okay.
The West, yeah. I would go the West. Because when I was a kid, we would travel and visit some of those sites, and I think it's kind of stuck with me.
Okay.
And a lot of unanswered questions.
Yes, sir.
So, Jared, thanks a lot. This has been great. Appreciate you, and good luck in the future. You're going to do great things.
Thank you. I appreciate it.